Hey guys, hi there. My name is Tracilyn. I'm also known as VCat. This is day 2 of my spiritual journey here on Earth. I'm in the mountainside just on the other side of Lickdale, probably the northern side of Lickdale. It's a mountain that I used to share a lot of time with a lot of people that I grew up with throughout my whole life, up until about a year or two ago. Yesterday, I was sharing about different locations that there were some occurrences that happened when I was with friends. Whether it's connected with this video or if it's a video prior to this, you may want to touch base with the first 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes, and then jump back to here so you get a better understanding as far as to the locations that various things happened. Right now I'm going to finish up with the last location, location number 3, which was on 343, heading from Fredericksburg into Lebanon, Pennsylvania, which turns into 7th Street. There was a season of my life that I was going through some pretty dark times. Lost, pressure of doing things with friends because I wanted to have friends. Really bad. I wanted to fit in. I didn't know how to fit in. Did you ever feel that way? As you're walking through life, kind of seems that you're maybe not like other people. You have other passions. Maybe a lot of different reasons. Maybe you like guys, and the friends you're hanging around with looks down on that. I'm sorry if you're going through those things. Maybe you're curious to know, is there a God out there somewhere that cares about me? Is there anybody on this earth that cares about me? Well, I went through a large portion. I believe that my mother cared about me, and I believe that my brothers and my sisters cared about me. But when it came to the school days, I wasn't too sure if anybody really cared about me. And it seemed sometimes that when I would meet guys that would kind of take me under their wings, not all of them, please understand, not everybody, but sometimes they'd take me under their wing. It seemed sometimes that I would end up caught into another world of doing a lot of things that I was regretting as I was doing them. Okay? Whatever it was. Whether it was picking on other kids, if it was taking things that didn't belong to us, okay, vandalizing property, whatever the deal was, whatever it was, all I knew is that I was raised differently somehow. Did it come from my grandparents? Did it come from our religious beliefs as a family? My great-grandma? Did it come from my mother, which I believe strongly influenced me to try to be a person of integrity? A person who's honest, you know? Somebody who works for what they got. So everybody has a different idea as we go through our life of what's right, wrong, and different. And I don't want to get too heavy in that now, okay? That's for another day for me to share with you. We're talking about spirituality. Things that may be there that we don't see with the eye, or maybe we see them with the eye, and it's unexplainable because it's not in the physical forms that we see. Similar like this, as we're growing up. You know, tree. There's trees, there's leaves. You know, there's dirt down there somewhere. There it is, see? The sky's up there. Can we touch that? Can we touch the sky? Did everybody say, reach for the sky, reach for the sky? You know? But what about things like ghosts? Do they exist? Sometimes you see them walk into walls, disappear, like in movies. You know? Did you ever question some of the what they call horror movies, the scary movies? I already shared about how a lot of the different movies kind of influenced me. As a child, I don't want to say influenced me, but kind of cast fear in me. Okay? So I'm kind of going through life now as I hear sounds when I go outside or if I'm in the woods. Is there going to be a guy with a hockey mask over there? I'm wondering about these things. And I touched base in the first video if you'd like to hear more about that. I want to pick off where I left off so I can move on to a few other situations that happened to me as I got older. Okay? Up until just a couple years ago, it's 2013 now, but I still remember things happening to me in 2011, 2010. Okay? So this final location out on 343, understand this. I'm trying to fit in with the world around me. I can't find my place. I'm a little uncertain about everything that I've been going through my whole life. I'm having struggles within there. I'm feeling pretty low about myself. And can I just say, any time that I knew that I was doing wrong, that I felt even worse? You ever feel like that? You're doing something and something in your heart tells you, or in your mind, you're thinking, I don't want to be a part of that. Well, this was one of those times. So I borrowed a friend's car, and I headed back in through to my house. At this time, I had my driver's license. I had my own car, but I went with friends. As you get older, or maybe you already have lived this, sometimes when you end up in a situation like we used to have a lot of parties out here, and if you came out with a friend, which I rarely ever did, I usually drove myself, but if you came out here with a friend, and you and that friend had a disagreement, or you got separated for any reason whatsoever, you would end up having to either hopefully go home with somebody else safely. There's a good chance that you might have to walk home and hope that somewhere along that road that you're walking, somebody's going to stop and pick you up. I hope you never have to go through that experience, unless it's going to benefit you down the road somehow. I hope you can, however you, I hope you never have to go through that experience, okay? Can I just leave it at that? It's not a pleasurable one to be alone in the middle of nowhere. And that night I was, because the car that I borrowed eventually ran out of gas at that third location that I was showing you in the first video, this video before this one, or maybe it's connected here. And I'll never forget how scared I was, because it was completely dark. I can barely see the roadway in front of me as I'm walking. And I probably got about a quarter of a mile up the road, approximately, or half a mile. So now, where the light was back at the house, okay, I don't know if it was a porch light or if there's a street light there. Can I assure you, now I'm in complete darkness, and I'm thinking, why did I do that? Why didn't I just sleep in the car, or maybe knock on the house? I was kind of nervous to do that. Do you ever feel that way? You're stuck in the middle of nowhere, and you're even afraid to go knock on the house? You don't know what to expect? Well, maybe it was because I saw too many horror movies. You know, scary things. Maybe let's not blame it on that. What about all the horror stories I heard my friends talk about? Okay, the ghost stories. What about all the things that I may have seen throughout my life? Maybe the washing machine went on. Who did that? Who turned on the washing machine? We better call the company that made that washing machine and tell them it's defective, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what to say here. But I was scared. And can I tell you that it wasn't long after I got about that far, you know, a quarter mile up the road, that this car drove up from behind me, and he pulled over. And I don't remember the details of what it is that he said, but I know he wanted to give me a ride safely to wherever I was going. And I just want to let you know this right up front. If anybody ever does that, please double check and recheck in your own mind whether or not you feel safe enough to do it, because you never know what could be the end result. It could turn into a disaster, a nightmare. Okay? Understand, at this point, I'm 16, 17 years old. I'm seeking, and I know that because of peer pressure of the desire to have friends, okay, and I didn't know how to make the right friends for myself, I'm getting into arguments and doing things that I really don't want to do, so I'm finally at the point in my life where I know I need change. This is as dark as things are going to get for me. And they were, because in other videos I shared with you about what happened at a department store and a cop, and how I ended up making amends with it by talking to the manager, and they were all kind to me. Okay, but I don't want to talk about a lot of that story. Check it out. You might be questioning, what are you talking about? You're jumping all over. But there was finally a season when I started, instead of being a tag-along and a follower, I started, even though I was warned not to ever do it myself, I took it upon myself to take a Bon Jovi cassette. And I'll tell you what, I'm grateful to this day. I'm grateful that the cop was extremely nice and respectful to me, but I'm grateful he had that long talk with me, and I'm glad that they stopped me because I was just about to turn 18. And let me tell you, it affects your life forever after that. People don't let things like that go. The God that you're taught is forgiving, but the world around you is not. Mark my words on that. And I don't want to make you believe something as harsh as that, but it's true. The world around us will not forgive us, okay, in most situations. Maybe individual people will. But in later years, and I don't want to get too much involved in that now, things like that, even me sharing this message, come back to haunt you. But I'm at the point in life where I'm peaceful with who I am. I love who I am. And my dream is to share my story because I want to help you. I want to help you tap in and help you understand that I've seen things too that are unexplainable. I had unique encounters too that are unexplainable sometimes. Okay? Sometimes. And I have a history of trying to fit in and I did some bad things. Slap me on the hand. Slap me on the hand, okay? Slap me on the hand, because that was wrong. Okay? A lot of things that I did, I knew at the time I was wrong. So now back to this place. By my teenage years, most certainly, I want to be that person that my mother was trying to raise me to be. And I was always surprised my mother didn't know half the things. Not even 3/4, 90% of what I was doing, she didn't know. Even with me drinking, even though she knew I was drinking with her when I was with her, but she didn't know what I was doing when I left. I couldn't walk away from the house having her think any less of me, or so I thought. She probably wouldn't have thought less of me. She would have thought you're being like all the other kids in the neighborhood kind of thing, you know? And I still love you. Nothing's going to take me away from that. That was my mother back then. That was my mother, probably even now. So something in my heart said, I don't want to be out here in the total darkness. Because I remember trying to talk to a God that I thought was out there somewhere, and I was scared. Because it was completely dark. So when this guy pulled up and he asked me that, I decided, I took it upon myself, and I'm not recommending you do this, but I took it upon myself to get in. And can I tell you something? The instant I sat down and closed the door and looked over at him was the first time in my whole life I reflect back and I remember feeling like a baby girl. Felt like a princess, safe. And even to this day, I think back of that time. And I'm still looking for that ride. Not a ride, not an easy ride, not a ride of escape, but I always felt that my position was in a passenger seat, on the back seat of a motorcycle. I like that. Maybe that's because that's the way I seen my mother throughout her life when I was a child growing up. She was always in the passenger seat when her boyfriend would be driving. Usually the guy drove. Maybe. Sometimes I drive. But usually when I drive, can I tell you something? People complain. They complain about everything. And that's a whole other story, too. They just complain about Tracilyn's driving. Driving too fast, driving too close. I'm stopping too hard, too soon. Oh, stay in your lane, Tracilyn. Keep your eyes on the road. Okay, we'll talk about that maybe sometime. What I wanted to say before I got into that is when that door opened, it was like I felt this energy. And there was this glow. I really don't know. Maybe it was something in my head that saw this because I needed something like someone nice to come along in my life. And I was in complete darkness. Maybe that had something to do with it too. It did something weird with my eyes, my pupils. Did you ever notice that? If you're in the light, aren't your pupils a little smaller? Then in the dark they get big. Did you ever notice that? Well, maybe that's what happened. I don't know. I can't explain it. But I know when I opened up that door, I felt safe. And instantly I felt like it was an angel. And I didn't know what it was like to be around an angel, you know? I mean, I really didn't know. Maybe I think, you know, in conversations that we talked about, maybe I saw an angel or the presence of one somewhere. But at this time, did I have something built inside of me? That basically an angel was someone that was doing something extremely nice to me, you know, that was a rarity, offering me a ride. And I can't remember our conversation once we drove down through, but I remember that feeling, like I feel like a princess, I feel safe, I feel like a baby girl kind of sensation going on. And he was the most pleasant spirit that I met up to that time. Very magical feeling that it gave me. So he took me to my house, and I remember I didn't want to get out. He pulled right in front of my house like this. And I got out, and he gave me some kind of encouraging words, like he knew my struggles at that time in my life. He knew what I was going through. And the words that he offered me had me go into the house as we parted our ways. And I fell to my knees and I cried. I felt very strongly there was something inside me that said this guy was not a normal human being. This was not a normal experience that I would have if somebody stopped right now and picked me up. This guy knew the details of my life somehow and what I was going through, whether it's that day, that night, or throughout my whole life. Do you ever feel that way? You meet somebody and it's like they can connect with you, they know exactly what you're going through, but you never saw this person or remember seeing this person ever? That was a situation for me. Later years, can I tell you that as I got into my 20s, I started going to a church that eventually I'll be talking about, and I was going to a lot of life groups, gatherings at people's houses, and can I tell you that I reflected back on that moment. I shared that with different people, of course, and can I say that there was a season that I actually was picking up people that were walking down the road in the middle of nowhere and taking them to where they needed to go. It was along my way. Obviously, I'm not going to take them. I didn't take them, too far off the track of where I was going. But I did it because I reflected back when I needed somebody kind, somebody loving, somebody trusting, somebody that wasn't going to hurt me. I didn't have nothing to offer that guy. So when these people would, get in my car, usually they would say comments like, You're my angel. You're an angel. One day it was raining, and I picked somebody up. And I remember them saying, it was a guy, he said, you're an angel. Sometimes maybe we can be an angel, huh? In somebody's life, where they're just in time. Why did we cross paths with them at that time? Why did I have a car and he didn't? Or vice versa, why did my car run out of gas there that day? Okay? I think about these things. I'm a very deep thinker. I'm not asking you to, Evaluate your life. As I go through my life journey, that's what this is about. To start at the beginning, let's kind of reevaluate things. Because if you're hurting right now, I want you to heal. I want you to heal, and just like I myself, put the past behind us where it belongs. And let's live in the now. And let's hold our head up and smile. And let us be opened to other possibilities of what we've been taught. Rest assured, in my opinion, I don't believe that we're here to experience a physical world. I believe that we're here to experience a spiritual adventure. Kind of a unique way, huh? I'm not here to collect material things. Enjoy, yes. Enjoy. And I don't want you to I don't want you to find that as I don't want you to mistake what I'm trying to say. And throughout my sharing my life testimony, you're going to find out that sometimes I question as to whether or not there's dark energy, dark spirits, and there's light spirits lingering all around us all the time. Let me dig out my notes. For anybody who's been watching the videos, you know that when I do Super Bowl moments, I usually take notes. Well, I'm trying to stay a little more organized so I can get through this quickly. I want to wrap things up by the end of the week. It might take one day into it next week to finish up to 2009. Let me see here. We talked about Moonshine Church. We talked about a place at Salem, Massachusetts, where I believe that there was something kind of leading me there to kind of show me, introduce another side of myself. We're going to do that right now. The reason why that I felt like there was this invisible leadership to get me to Salem, to share, whether it's true or not, I don't know. It could be a big fairy tale. Okay, I don't know. Search, research. Maybe you live in Salem or in Massachusetts and you're very familiar. And maybe you have ancestors of information that have been passed down. I don't want to talk a whole lot about what happened in Salem because I don't really remember. All I know is it had to do with witches. And, you know, I had a lot of confused feelings as to the way I was perceiving everything. Okay? So, whether it was more of black magic, white magic, or however you want to conduct it, okay, I just know that they were, what do they call that? What do they call that? Give me the word that they use. Not just prosecute. What do? When they eliminate them. They hung them downtown. Okay, I don't know if it's true or not. I didn't want to say sacrifice. That's going to bug me now. I'm going to have to look it up. I'm going to have to think about it. What do they do when they decide that they're going to eliminate somebody for their crimes? Pretty much, that's the way it was looked at. Their witchcraft was more of a crime. It was affecting the community around them. Okay? I don't know if it's real or not, but it helped me to tap in, and I'm going to tell you why. We're going to start off in my life journey here. This had to be the time that I came out, either just before as an escort, and let me see, when was it? Probably around 2006, 2007, somewhere in there. I'll do more research on myself to figure this stuff out as we go along later. But do you ever become so desperate rather for what we consider a better life at that time? We think it's a better life, for a different life, for money, for material possessions. Okay? Though I don't remember exactly what my reasoning was for, I do remember that I found something online and I decided to write down a long list of whatever it is that I wanted. What I wanted. Something that I thought would bring me peace. Okay? And the ritual pretty much went through, you write it all down, and you say these magic words, and you put it into a pot, you light it on fire. Okay? Maybe that's where I got this idea of sharing my life story and walking away from Pennsylvania, letting it go, burning it up, striking the match. It's done. I can't be here because there's so many memories. There's so many memories, and it keeps triggering things off. And yes, when I go to other states or I go to other places, the truth of the matter is there's things that remind me of home. But I don't know for sure if I'm strong enough yet. And I gotta be honest, if I'm strong enough to stay at a place that I perceived at one time as being the most negative place on earth. Okay? I don't know if I'm strong enough to do that. Maybe if I was with someone special and we had a team, you know, we were a team together, maybe I could. That might not be so fair to that team player. You know, I'm not here to just make Tracilyn strong. We're a team. Make each other strong. You know, a company, how would you say that? I'll think of a word later. I'm lost for words right now. I didn't want to say accommodate. To complement each other. I don't know. We gotta think. Give me some magical words here. What should team players be willing to do? You know, you're helping each other. You know, to get through life. Sometimes it's just like, Tracilyn, go back to school. Okay. Sometimes I wish I could. Sometimes I wish I could finish 11th and 12th grade with everybody now. I probably would never nowadays. The process is so different, I'm sure. I probably wouldn't be able to keep up with everybody. I'd be holding you all behind. Okay. So at that time in my life, I was desperate. I've been trying. I'm the kind of person, I'll be honest with you. Maybe you're this way. Or maybe you know somebody like this. You're so desperate to have what you perceive as a better life that you're willing to do anything. Absolutely anything. Well, now I'm starting to dabble into witchcraft, the possibilities of witchcraft. Why not? If it works, why not? Did you ever get to the point that you would even consider making a deal with the devil? Did you ever feel like that? I'm going to be honest with you. Tracilyn felt like that. In fact, even though she didn't see a little monster running around, Tracilyn was willing to make a deal with the devil. Lots of times. It never worked. Nothing ever worked. Let me tell you something. Tracilyn has tried everything out of desperation for what she perceives as a better life. Nothing ever happened. Nothing. Tracilyn dabbled with witchcraft. Tracilyn dabbled with making a deal with Satan. Tracilyn dabbled with religion. Tracilyn dabbled with positive thinking, with study of energy. Can I tell you, Buddhism, all this stuff. The only way my life ever got better is when I thought it was better. That's it. That's it. It's that easy. You have to believe that it's a better life. Nothing's going to change because I'm standing here. The only way that things are going to change around me is if I walk. I got to do it. I got to walk. And I have to believe that this is better if I want it to be better. Back there, I may find out up here that it was better back there. Okay? So this is where you got to really sink within your own heart and figure out, what is it, if I'm completely honest with myself and write it down, what is it that I long for in life? You got to be honest with yourself. Don't even tell anybody else. Let me tell you something about telling other people. Other people will laugh at you. They will beat you down and make you feel horrible because the things you want in life are much different. Probably, if you're completely honest with yourself, there's going to be at least a few things in your life that is very different than the society's standard norm. This is what normal is. And if you like anything outside of that, you're crazy. Better lock you up in a mental facility. And I have been in 2. Okay? Which is a very healthy and therapeutic way of going about digging into your mind and your heart. To be honest with yourself. It's like taking your car to a garage to be tuned up. That's all it is. And that's looked down upon. It used to be. Maybe not so much anymore. I hope not. Just want to have experiences to share with you. I had a lot of fun. Oh, and they'll never forget me. I promise you. Never forget me. Okay? You gotta be honest with yourself. And I would recommend not going around sharing it with everybody. At one time I had my whole room decorated with what I called dream images. I even made a little folder on Facebook. Posted all my dream images in there. And in there was money. In there were smiles. In there were cars. In there, maybe it wasn't even an Italian man. I'm not sure. Maybe. Maybe Sylvester Stallone was in my dream image. I'm not sure. Is he Italian? Is he Italian? Okay. I don't know. Be honest with yourself. And that's what I'm all about, is trying to help pull out of you for what's right for you, not what's right for your friends, not what's right. Because let me tell you something about friends. They may be the wrong people in your life to connect with and call friends. I know that sounds pretty harsh, but that's what I've learned. I never had the right friends. I had friends, people to associate and go through life with. So some of them were brotherhood, some of them. But I had very, very, very few friends. And most people you meet and you walk through life, they'll tell you, most people only have 1 or 2 friends. You know, they only have a handful of friends. You know, because they're close. There's like a brother-sisterhood there. Okay? But be careful. Be careful, because sometimes the people we think are friends are the ones that are going to hurt us the most, because we have too many expectations. You know? We have a standard of what they should be doing with their life. And that would happen to me. I got made fun of a lot of by people I wanted to be my friend. Even, can I be honest with you? Even in Ohio, even in the last few years of my life, it was miserable because of that. I had to find myself, and I can help you do the same. Because now, I don't care what anybody says. You can laugh all you want. Because I know you're laughing because you're hurting inside, because you're lost. Nobody intentionally wants to go hurt people once they connect with themselves. You don't want to do that. I don't want to get too much stuck in that right now. This may upset you. This may upset you. But let's get into some of the things that I was doing there. So I created this spell that I found online. Did you ever do something like that? You throw it in a pot, burn it up. Okay? Now I'm waiting for something to happen. What's going to happen? How soon? Is the devil going to pop up? Maybe knock on my door? You know? Have a contract? Here you go, Tracilyn. Just sign here. Okay. I didn't know what to expect. But can I tell you, nothing happened. Nothing. I went about my life. It was somewhere between 2 days and 6 days. It wasn't even a week. This was a time that I was driving as an escort. I was traveling around. I started off going locally in Pennsylvania to a lot of the places I was at, providing adult services. And let me tell you something, I started traveling on the road. Okay, this is what I did, and I loved it. It was great for a season. It was great for a season at a time, and I'll talk more about that another time. But I got a call. See, I would post advertisements on places like Craigslist. Okay? And I would tell them I'm driving through New Jersey. I'm driving through New Jersey, and whatever the ad said, it said. Give me a call. And stop by. You know, stop by your place, we can talk or what have you. And can I tell you this? Somebody called me that day. Remember, I'm just leaving Pennsylvania after about 2 or 6 days ago. Making my spell. Well, this older gentleman met me somewhere. This was rare for me. He met me somewhere in a vehicle. And he asked me if I would go for a drive with him. Usually, and I would never recommend this, okay? I understand, I would never recommend this. But I took him up on that. Maybe at that time I wasn't feeling too good about myself. I was still, remember, I'm making a spell. I want a better life. I want a better life, but I don't know how to get a better life. Okay? And even if somebody was teaching me how to have a better life, I wasn't getting it. So this guy takes me for a ride, and he starts telling me what the future year is going to be. Told me things like I'll be living in New Jersey. Basically, I'll be a pet to somebody. Okay? And he went into some other details. And it was weird because in the movie Poltergeist, this is what this guy kind of looked like. An older gentleman. I can't remember which part it was, if it was part 1 or if there is a part 2. He was an older gentleman. From what I remember, he had darker clothes on. He left it known very strongly that he wasn't there to have any kind of intimate encounter with me. And he assured me, I'm going to get money. He told me to stop worrying, I'm going to get money. He's not going to hurt me, he just wanted to talk to me. So he started telling me about this location, and basically I'm going to be a pet to somebody in New Jersey. I love to role play. I don't know if this has to do with some of my other friends. I don't know what's going on if it was some of what they call clients, and I'll talk more about that later on. I didn't know what this had to do with. Okay? Is this guy for real? Then I started reflecting back on the spells. You know, did something happen here? I don't know. Did you ever, you know, sometimes you do things like that, you expect something to happen right away, then nothing happens. Did you ever meet somebody that reminded you of somebody out of a horror movie? Okay, understand, like out of the Corvette. That guy seemed like an angel. This guy seemed to be like a helper to somebody on the dark side. On the dark side. Or he was himself, I don't know. With that being said, we drove around for a while. We ended up pulling in, right here. You're the hotel, your monitor's the hotel. Pulled into the front. We had a long talk, continued talk. And he knew what was in my head, because pretty much I wanted to get going. I was heading to Rhode Island that day. And I wanted to get up to Rhode Island and He told me, I know that right now you want to go into that hotel room and you want to make your money and you want to be on your way. Because I was all about making money, okay? I was all about making money. But it's not all bad. I had to make a living. And we'll start talking more about that. I had to be able to take care of, provide for myself. And maybe I wasn't going about it the right way, but I have a lot of strong feelings about that. I feel for the girls who are adult entertainers. I know what they go through, 100%, and it sickens me, okay? It sickens me that they're looked down on by anybody in society. It's a great job. I had a lot of great times, and I'm going to share more about that another time. So here's this guy telling me what my life's going to be like, okay? I love to role play, and I'm putting myself in that position and thinking, it sounds fun. It sounds like the kind of life I would like to experience for a season. Just a season. What can I tell you? That never happened either. I never moved into anybody's home in New Jersey and became their pet. Ever. Okay? I can honestly tell you that never happened. So what was this? Was he playing a mind game with me? Was he trying to get in my head? I don't know. But I will tell you this. One of the weirdest things happened to me that day. Because although I don't remember exactly how it came about, he had asked me, he pulled out, listen to me, I'm going to say this as clean as I can. He pulled out his private part from his pants. And because I was an escort, because I was an adult entertainer, okay, this did not bother me at all, okay? I'm very comfortable with me. I love men. So this guy pulls out his private part, and he asked me not to do anything with it that you would normally think of a girl doing it with a guy. But he asked me to look into the eye hole. Okay, just like that. Pulled my head down, he said, look into the eye hole. And can I tell you, as crazy as that sounds right now, some of you may be laughing, you might have splued out, your drink is all over the place, going through your nose, all over the monitor. Can I tell you something? The craziest thing I never experienced in my life. It was like a tunnel. Like a tornado. Like the eye was like looking through an eye of a tornado. That's exactly what it was like. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe what I was seeing. And he was chanting. That's the way I describe it. He was chanting in a language I never heard before. Okay? I never heard this language. So yes, I was scared, but yet I was wondering to myself, am I tapping in? Am I being invited in to a something spiritual that I have not been taught before? I'm curious. I want to know about these things. Okay? I gotta admit, I was pretty scared. Imagine that. You're all alone. The world is kind of beating me up still at that time because I'm an outed transsexual escort. Okay? And I'm comfortable with who I am. Don't get me wrong. In fact, I love who I am. But a lot of people don't understand. They don't understand. They're not educated, and why should they be? They don't specialize in it. Okay? So at that time in my life, I should have been probably at least connected somehow with a lot of other escorts as a support group. You know, really. I know that may sound crazy to you, but I really enjoyed my life. I got to do all kinds of amazing things. I learned and tapped into so many things about myself through that experience. And after that, obviously, I was pretty nervous. Wouldn't you be nervous? You look into anything, any body part of a person, into their mouth. And all of a sudden it turns into a tornado and they start chanting or something. I mean, this is stuff that really you only see in the movies. So I didn't know how this all happened. Okay, still to this day, I got to be honest with you. I reflect back on this. What happened? I don't know. Maybe I don't need to know. Okay? Sometimes I think it was like a ritual of some sort. Maybe a big organization of some people that, you know, they get their kicks off or for whatever reason they got to do that. So I had to think about that for a while. I'm not affected by it anymore. I'm not scared by it or anything like that. Did you ever anything weird like that happen to you? At all? I don't know how old you are. You might be a child. You might be a lot older than a child. You know, I'd be curious to hear. Do you have any stories like that? Let me know. After leaving the New Jersey, of course, I was nervous. So I headed up to Rhode Island. And I think, I'm almost 100% sure that afternoon, that night, I get a call from somebody. And of course, notice I'm not going to use any names or anything like that. I would never do that. But I get a call from somebody. This somebody wants to come over to meet me. He wants me to do something specifically tailored, which was exotic dancing. He had a thing for what some people call strippers, but it's an art form. It's a dance. And he wanted more of an exotic dance role play kind of situation. So we worked out our agreement because usually I would disagree, but I got there late and I needed to meet with somebody to help me out with my overhead, if you will. As a business person, my overhead. So he eventually came over. And can I tell you something? A lot of people might not like me talking about this, but I'm going to share it because it was one of the most unique situations that ever happened to me besides back in New Jersey. We have our session, we have our encounter. I'm dancing for him. Then, of course, things happen. Adult, fun, sometimes, most times, even though it's innocent play, will start to lead into other things, more intimate encounters. Without going into all the details of it, can I say that as a professional adult entertainer years ago, there's certain boundaries that if we already set the boundaries, we already said what we're going to be doing. It'd kind of be like, let me put it this way. Somebody's going to be cutting grass at your house, and they have an agreement. This is how much they're paying to have the grass cut. Okay, you're paying them to have the grass cut. Now you expect them to cut down some trees and clean up some of the shrubs, maybe clean up some of the leaves, whatever. That's extra work. That's considered extra work. But as an escort, a lot of times, if you get into a session and there's an agreement of boundaries of what kind of work is going to be performed, a lot of times the client will be very attracted to the one providing the services and expect them to go further without being generous. And can I tell you guys that are doing this to the girls, stop it. Okay? Stop it. Stop it. Stop putting that pressure on them. You know that's wrong. You know that's wrong. You wouldn't like it with your business. The girls who are exotic entertainers, they don't like it either. Okay? It's a business. It's a business. It's supposed to be an enjoyable business. It's a business. So can I tell you that throughout that session, of course, him desiring me to do more, came into what, I'm going to say it, it comes into, this is educational, by the way, comes into what, it's a spiritual educational video. It really is, believe it or not. Very spiritual. But a lot of people will tell you, this is physical, this is not, I can't believe you're listening to this. Listen, I'm trying to keep it as clean as I can, but I'm getting down to it. It's very spiritual. Okay. Everything that I've been sharing with you on this message is all about spirit. It's not about the physical world. Okay? So at some time through the session, he's trying to encourage me to give him oral. Okay? I don't want to get a whole lot into that right now, but you might be laughing. Whatever is going on, it's okay. He wanted me to give him oral, but I kept refusing. I knew what our agreement was. Gave him a great deal, by the way. I'm there to be an exotic entertainer, dancer. Okay? So I'm not going to do any more. I had to stand firm with that. Or out the door you go, not me, you go. So eventually I got to admit, I let him break a couple boundaries, and I'm not going to go into those boundaries that I allowed him to do, because I enjoyed it. You know, I understand, I did enjoy my work. Okay? So here's the thing, check this out. All of a sudden, he was ready. How can I say this? He was ready to have an orgasm. Okay? And when he climaxed, I had my eyes closed. Can I tell you that I felt it on my chest, and I knew instantly it was different, and I opened up my eyes, and it was like a nightmare. It was like a nightmare. It was like a horror movie. Horror movie. It was blood all over my chest. All over my chest. Almost all over my face. And for some reason, what I believed instantly is he was trying to make me drink that. Now, I don't know why, and I know your guys are like, what the world is she talking about? This is real. This is a real deal. Understand, I was not doing any drugs. People will want to say, well, she must have been strung out on drugs. They're trying to find all the reasons. I'm telling you, this is real. This is a real spiritual event that was happening. Now, I don't know if it was tied together with everything that I did or what was going on, but I will tell you, this was real. And it was a nightmare. I remember how scared I was. What did you just do? Because I liked the guy. And, you know, if he comes across this video, he might not like that I'm sharing. Nobody has any idea who he is. Nobody. Or where he's from. You know, he could be from Australia. Nobody knows. Russia. You know, he could be. He could be. Okay? So we're not talking about anyone else. We're talking about what happened to me. And can I tell you what? That freaked me out. It freaked me out. It freaked me out. All over my bed, all over my body. I'm thinking, I almost drank that. Okay? And I gotta say, I don't know for sure, so if he is watching, I don't know for sure if he intended me to drink it or not. Obviously, he was encouraging me to. Okay? The end of the story, from what he said, is his great apologies, was that he had something done at a physician's office prior to that, and they warned him about not having intercourse for a season, whether it was for a day or two or a week. I don't know what it was. But of course, I got him excited with me dancing in my clothing, okay? So I got him excited, and this is what happened. Now, that's pretty bizarre, and I know a lot of you guys right now, you're just like, you gotta be kidding me. This is outstanding that she's even sharing this. She has to be crazy. I have to be crazy, because I have no idea what this was all about. I have no idea. Look what just happened to me in New Jersey. Look what's happening to me here in Rhode Island. You would be surprised, and I won't take the time to go through all the phone calls that I used to get. And knowing what I know now, they were trying to get into my head. They were trying to get into my head and beat me, submit me into a position that they desired, whatever it was. I don't know what it was. They just like to play what I call head games. Be careful. For all the girls that are out there that, for whatever reason, you're putting your number out there, yourself out there as a provider, and you know what I'm talking about. Can I just tell you something? Be safe. Be safe. And know that there are people that are playing head games with you. There are. I assure you there are. If you're an adult entertainer, there are people that are just, there's something inside of them. Is it because of their religious beliefs? Is it because of their spirituality? Is it a dark force? Is it a light force? There's people trying to get into your head. And I'm telling you, if it's words you don't understand, you want to disconnect. You want to disconnect. You don't want to listen to it. Because what I'm realizing more and more is our computers are much like the computer, or our minds are like a computer, like the one that you're on right now. They're programmed. All that stuff is programmed. We're programmable. We can be programmable to have a life of victory, and I'm sharing with you that we can be programmed to be beaten down our whole life. We can also be programmed for other things. What's this guy telling me? I never went to New Jersey. Why all of a sudden am I receiving a bloodbath? You know, seriously. What's going on here? Kind of crazy, isn't it? But it's true. And I'm just like going up to Salem. You know, I know that I got a lead before I went up there, and I had the pamphlet in my hand. Is that a coincidence? How's this stuff happening? Who is watching me? Who knows that I'm getting ready to go up to either Salem, or I'm going to go into Boston City, or I'm going to go down to, is it Charleston or Springfield or something? You know, am I going to go up to Vermont for the day or New Hampshire? I didn't know. But I had leads, and that's what made me decide. There's some kind of energy trying to get me to go up there. And when I was there, I started thinking, maybe, because this is during the same season, maybe I am or was a witch. Did you ever feel like maybe you were something else? can I assure you that there is seasons that I've talked to even professionals about this, that I really believe that in another life I was a good one. Not a bad one, a good one. At one time. And that there may be freaking some people out. I'm sorry if it is. Don't be upset. I'm not telling you I'm a witch. I'm not a witch. Maybe in a sense. We put all these titles and labels on us. You know? Now Tracilyn is a transsexual escort witch. Or a witch who happens to be a transsexual escort. You know? And she's Christian because she's studying under the Christian faith. Which kind of means that she's probably satanic and a devil herself. Oh, no. And if I was a dark witch, would I tell you? Would I tell you that I'm a dark witch? No, of course not. Why would I do that? I wouldn't do that. I have a heart that cares for everyone. Believe it or not, I care about everyone. And I'm realizing more and more that for generations, people with awareness probably, maybe it happened by mistake, they started realizing that they can program people to fit into a mold, what we call society's mold, an idea, a group of people's idea of how we should be living our life. And because of that, because it's an idea, one idea, right? Standards of how we should dress, the professional image, right? Got to have a professional image, okay? With that being said, you already know that your friend's life is not right for you. You already know that the guys up the street, that's not the kind of life you want. You already know that people that you see online or somebody you've seen on the Jerry Springer show, you don't want their life. Okay? I'm telling you, you don't want their life. And even if you think that you do, you don't. You don't, because chances are anybody's life that you do want, they had to go through some pretty bizarre occurrences to finally get to the point, because they had to separate their selves from, or they had to find their selves first. They had to find their selves and then fight off the idea of the masses, which was brought down by a few. Be careful. I'm sharing this with you because, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people, maybe in New Jersey, they wouldn't want me to be sharing this, okay? For what? I don't know why. I don't know why. Let me tell you, I'm still here. Nothing ever happened to me. No blessings ever occurred so greatly that I was like, wow. You know? It's a state of mind. Okay? And there are people out there that really know that they can play mind games with you. Now, how did this really happen with this gentleman? How did he shoot blood from his private area? I don't know. I always wondered that myself. I talked to some professionals and they don't know themselves. How did this happen? We'd be curious to know. Can you find him? And listen, I want to make this clear, really clear. I still met with this gentleman after that. I wanted to because I was curious. I like this gentleman, okay? Understand, I still like him. Okay? So we would talk a lot on the phone. And sometimes I would see him and sometimes not. Okay? And I'm not saying it was in New Jersey with him. Okay? He might not even be from the United States. I'm not going to say anything more than that. Understand that. I will never share. I will share situations, share occurrences, but I will never share names or their location of where they were from. Okay? The gentleman with the vehicle that picks me up, I don't know. I don't know where he's from. I didn't look at his license plate. I don't look at this stuff. I don't care. Actually, I would have to say to both of them, thank you for the experience. Because to me at that time, I like stuff like that. Believe it or not, it's crazy to me. I don't know what I was a part of. Was I a part of a ritual or something? I mean, to me, that's so much different of a life than I've lived as a child growing up. I was always interested. I want to play with the Ouija board. Did Ozzy really bite the head off of a bat? Did he? Did he bite the head off of a bat? I want to meet Ozzy now. That sounded pretty cool to me. Okay? I don't know why. I don't know why. But also, here's some people that are really excited and they're happy and they're living a life and they're excited about God and Jesus. Well, I want to meet them too. I want to meet them too. See, I want to meet what we consider people from what is branded, and understand this. I'm not saying Ozzy's on the dark side. Please understand. If he is, he is. But I don't know. Because there's a lot of things I don't know. But I'm saying I would love to meet Ozzy, but I'd also love to, and I have met Christian leaders. Certain ones. And there's certain ones that for a long time I wanted to meet them. I want to get in their mind. I want to see what makes them tick. See, that's what I'm fascinated about. The mind. It's very powerful. So, yes, as weird as it is, these same guys that I encountered anything with, or people, I have no problems. It was a curious thing to me. To me, I knew that the encounter, the gentleman was really sorry about it. He at least felt that way. It appeared that way. And believe it or not, I was forgiving. I asked him to leave. After we cleaned everything up, I asked him to leave, and I got to admit, for a long time, imagine, I was scared. I was very scared, and if I'm not mistaken, after that encounter, I went up to Boston. Then that's when I finally decided I needed to take a break, and I think the reason why I thought I needed a break and to get away was because of what happened in New Jersey, what happened in Rhode Island. Okay? I need a break. Now I'm in Boston. And I gotta admit, wouldn't you be scared? Kind of. I'm curious. More, can I be honest? More of me was curious. I'm not so curious anymore. It could be a zillion different things that was going on. I'm not so curious anymore. But I was scared to kind of talk about it to other people, but not because of me I'm a very open individual, but it's because a lot of times when you share things like this with people, how do we know how to take her? She's crazy. Lock her up. Lock her up. No. And some people will say, well, did you do drugs when you were little? Did you do drugs? Did Tracilyn do drugs? I told you about my history. Okay? Understand this too. It doesn't go without saying that I was there. I know, I lived it. That's the only thing that I can say. I lived it. I had the blood on me. I saw what I saw. I heard what I heard. Okay? As far as the other encounters that didn't have what appeared to be humans, as far as the other encounters, can I just tell you that up until this point, it was more of an illusion. I wasn't sure. And then I started questioning not so much about any kind of drug that I might have did. Okay, because usually I just drank and I did, marijuana throughout my life. I don't know more, but I did. And I dabbled with some other stuff. But some people will say, well, that's the reason why. That's the reason. But what about all the chemicals? What about all, like what I told you about roaches? They used to spray in our house. All those chemicals I smelled as a child. What about all the bleaches and detergents that we're using? What about the food that we're eating? Okay? Well, that's a very heavy subject for me to talk about with you. What about all this other stuff that we are contaminating our bodies with? Perfumes. You ever see somebody just spray like an air freshener? Why? Why are we being torn away from our natural body smells? Remember, I told you when guys used to give me a headlock, I like the way their armpits smelled. I like to smell a guy's sweaty body. I really do. Why is that? I don't like to smell a lady's sweaty body. I really don't. I do like the smells of their perfumes and things like that. For myself too, that's why I do wear a little bit of perfume, just a little bit. Not a whole lot, just very little. And very seldom, usually only if I'm going to be with a gentleman. Because I know that's a standard, that's an expectation. A lot of people, if not the masses, have been taken away from the natural body smells. And I know that maybe you might be saying, that's disgusting, Tracilyn. I'm turning you off, then turn me off. If you're not ready to hear Tracilyn, also known as VCAT, tell you that the natural body odor, okay, is what attracted us to what we were attracted to. Deer knows when there's a doe around even before he sees her. He smells her, doesn't he? Okay? Same with dogs. Did you ever see your dog as it's walking through the neighborhood? Isn't it going around smelling? I'm not saying that we're dogs. I'm not saying we're deer, okay? But what I'm curious to know is, what if we as a human race didn't have so many of the cover-ups on? It's in our soap, it's in our shampoos. Our shampoos run down our hair. We put on conditioner. And now we're putting on deodorant. And now we're putting on all different lotions with perfumes. And now we're washing our clothing, you know? Not just with detergents, some very strong detergents and bleaches. And then we're putting it into the dryer. And then within the dryer, we're putting fabric softener. And we're putting fabric softener with perfumes in it. And this just goes on, and not to mention the food, all the pesticides. Listen to me. I don't know what the actual answers are. I'm saying I'm here. I want to help us figure this out together so that we can be connected to our true inner selves. Okay? What's in our heart? What's in your heart? What's in your heart might not be what's in my heart, and vice versa. Some similarities. Okay? I'm very passionate about this. Can I tell you, before I move on here, I'm running out a little bit out of battery. Can I tell you that since the last 15 months, I've been trying very desperately to eat as healthy as I could. And can I tell you that on a very tight budget, because of my circumstances, that I did find that to be very challenging, but I did to the best of my abilities. And because I did it to the best of my abilities, that I noticed an amazing change, a change in awareness around me, shininess of the world around me. I can talk a lot about this with your diet and physical exercise. A lot of things. I noticed my 5 senses were increasing. Let me tell you, if anybody knows me, they try to understand me. Why does Tracilyn use unscented fabric softener? Why does she use unscented or baby detergent? I'll be honest with you. I used to break out in hives and rashes from using bleaches, from using different detergents. I'm very sensitive. I used to think this all the time. I am extremely sensitive. Certain foods that I would eat, especially once I started transitioning with my hormones. And I don't want to talk, you might be, whoa, you're way over ahead. I am. I'm not talking about that right now, but I'm just saying, as I started transitioning from what the world calls a male into a female, I started noticing different peanut butters, different foods were making me break out in hives. Okay, are you like that? Maybe you have sicknesses. What I want to tell you is, since I came back to Pennsylvania to do this video blog, I'm on a really tight budget. I'm not eating like I used to. I'm not working out like I used to because I'm staying committed to this. It's that important to me. And can I tell you something right now? I notice the difference in all my senses. In my hearing, in my visual, what I see, what I smell. It's a little bit different, not a lot. And I gotta tell you, I'm thinking to myself, I hope there comes a time that I can eat as healthy as absolutely possible. And I can live in a house. I used to get upset when people would burn candles in the house and they'd spray the air fresheners and stuff and all the different cleaners. And they don't get it. They don't understand. They think I'm being over paranoid. But understand, I say this humbly to you. I'm 40 years old. I'm 40 years old, and a lot of people would never guess that. It's because, although I wasn't aware, I was aware. There was something inside of me telling me that a lot of the stuff that I was using, even my makeup, isn't too good for me. It's taking me away from my true selves. I'm not saying we can't have nice things. We can't have a candy bar or eat different ice creams or stop at a fast food joint every once in a while. Okay? But I am saying it would be in our best interest to be very careful to stay away from as many chemicals as absolutely possible, to be careful of the products that we're putting onto our body, in our hair. Okay? We should be very careful of what we're allowing ourselves to put into our bodies. Because we could be missing out on an amazing experience on planet Earth while we're here. Shortly after leaving Salem, I had this feeling that it may be possible. You know, it may be possible in another life form that I was a witch of some sort. Did you ever feel that way, like you were something else at one time? And now you are you, and I am me. I had a lot of talks with a lot of different people about this. And sometimes I'll meet other people in my walkway of life who will feel the same way. Maybe they have a deeper or richer understanding of the possibilities. How do we know we're living here now? How do we know? I'm going to share something with you that I struggled with for a long time. I'm okay with it now. But I believed at one time that I was an Indian girl. Can you imagine that? I believed that I was an Indian girl. This Indian girl, entire tribe, was taken down. Okay? Taken down. The men that captured her abused her, held her prisoner, and raped her. All of them. All of them did. Now, was this reflections back from when I was a child, maybe even during my infantry years, that I saw this on television? You think so? I seen some pretty gruesome stuff on television. Okay? Something in my heart was telling me I was an Indian girl. I also believe that after that horrific experience in my life, because we were a very happy tribe, that I transitioned on to become a wolf. Did you ever feel like you were an animal in the past life? Or maybe there's some wolf living in you now? Maybe a dog or a cat? It's me, I'm a tiger. A tiger. Bengal tiger specifically. White and black. Maybe. But I had talks with people where after I was an Indian girl, I became a wolf. And it wasn't a wolf that hung out in a pack. It was a wolf that shared its life completely alone. Completely alone. But when the moon was full, and this was someplace out west, I don't know where out west, I really don't. Was it in this country? I don't know. Was it another land? I don't know. Somewhere out west. Maybe around Arizona. I don't know. I used to go, as that wolf, on top of a hill, kind of like a mountain, and overlook a village. Okay? And I was saddened. Now, why was I saddened? I don't know. It wasn't an Indian village, though. I will tell you that. Something in my heart says that I was saddened because it was the group of people that destroyed the land, destroyed the village, destroyed my family. So I would share all my time, my whole life journey by myself, except for when I would meet there. I had flashbacks of an Indian who would stand beside me, usually to the right of me, looking at that same village. One Indian man. We never talked to each other, but we could connect with our minds. We shared in the sadness of what we saw. The thoughts, the same thoughts that were going through my mind. We could communicate. We didn't need to talk to each other. I was a wolf. Probably, oh! That wasn't a good wolf, was it? I don't know. That's got to sound like a wimpy wolf, was it? A sissy wolf? I don't know. But can I tell you something? Sometimes when I reflect back on that, I would actually laugh and I would say, did I see this stuff in the movies? Maybe even before, when I was still am in diapers. When I was in diapers, before I was a toddler running around, was I drooling all over the television set, trying to stand up? And that's what I was seeing on television? I don't know. See, it's in my mind. And I really am convinced. I believe that was true. And I have to say this, as somebody who has transitioned from the world standard of male to female, and seeing the life around me, I'd have to say that when we supposedly die, which I don't believe. My personal belief is we never die. We keep on transitioning. Now what we transition into next, I don't know. Do you ever feel that way? You wondered about stuff like that? You may be thinking, this is total crazy. I will never listen to this girl again. You're going to want to come back. You're going to want to come back because I got to be one of the craziest people in the world to be sharing these stories with you. You know? And listen, I already know and I feel confident. I met many other people throughout my walks of life. And they would scratch their head and think, you know, I don't know too. Do we transition? I believe I was something else in another life. Was it because the images of the television shows we're watching? Is there something in the chemicals of what we're eating? I don't know. Let's figure this out together. Is it what we're eating? Is it the pesticides we're spraying in the house? What is giving us these illusions that we were something in another life? It is very obvious that life is continual and transitioning. I don't want to get a whole lot into that, but I believe that very much. And I believe a lot of the things with our spiritual talents, we have turned into prostitutes with them. We have been told what a prostitute is, but it's not true. And that's something very deep. I feel for a lot of people in the adult entertainment industry. Okay, I really feel for them because I was in it. Okay, I was in it, and maybe my experience would have been a whole lot different if some small things were just altered a little bit, you know. I'm not in it now. I don't care to be in it anymore. I want to do other things with my life. What I'm doing now, I want to share my life with you and all that I learned. It's very important to me. I know that I have enough questions to share with you, questions to ask you as well. I want to help figure this out together. I believe we got what it takes. I'm convinced we have what it takes to figure this out together. And to realize, to help other people realize that we have been stripped away even from the absolute truth. Other illusions have stepped in to kind of gracefully steer us away from that. I hope you're still with me. If you're not, I hope you come back. I don't want to be freaking you out right now. Is that what it is? You're freaking me out. Okay? I thought very deeply for many years about this stuff. And I'm still searching. Still seeking. I got a question for you. Did you ever hear of the New Jersey Devil? Oh. Kind of cute looking, you know, when you see him in images. I think so. He's little. Has cute little horns. Wings, I think. Fang teeth, maybe, I don't know. He's portrayed as a scary little monster. Really? I'm getting ready to run out of memory here. We ought to pick this up. The next one. I think I'm going to. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. We have a little bit of memory left here, so I'm going to try to use it up as much of it as I can. Okay, so did you ever hear of the New Jersey Devil? I didn't. Not up to this point of the story that I'm sharing with you. One of my girlfriends, she was dabbling with transitioning, not transitioning. It's a very challenging position to be in, you know, because the world has really high standards for people to be on one side of the spectrum or the other. You know, you're either a girl or you're a boy, but you can't be anything in between or outside of that, which is a real shame. Should be able to be whatever we are in our hearts, in the moment. Really, as long as it's respecting everybody around us. You know, we're taught that there's one image, one look, one tone of voice. Okay? You gotta always conduct yourself the same. Oh, I heard your voice. You missed the mark. I know you're listening to me now, and you're like, you do not sound like a girl. You do not even look like a girl, Tracilyn. You know, but what you're saying is you don't look like my idea of a girl should look. You don't sound like my idea of a girl should look. Okay? That's what you're really saying, if you're saying that, okay? please hold in there. You want to hear more of my stories. I want to help us to understand some things that I've realized, and I want to learn together. Maybe I'm wrong about everything. Did I ever think about that, Tracilyn? Are you wrong about everything? Could be. Could be. I know my voice has never been so hoarse in all my life, and I know I can't hit my normal talking voice that I would if I wasn't so tired, if I wasn't lacking my rest, if I was well rested, you know, and taking life a little more graceful. I'm rushing through this stuff. Get through it, and you'll find out why. I keep saying that. So I end up going down and visiting that girlfriend of mine. And I will have a story to share with you later on when I talk about my transitional walk. But can I tell you that I slept in her one room, and she slept in her bedroom. So rarely do I ever share a bed with a girl. It was always with guys as I was little growing up. And to this day, I mean, I could probably sleep in the same bed with a girl, one of my girlfriends, but I don't like it. I'd rather sleep with a guy. Okay. But I love some of my girlfriends, but we have slept together, depending where we were, a hotel room or something. Neither of us want to sleep on the floor. Okay. And in the middle of the night, she's in the bedroom. I guess she has a TV on. I am in this bedroom, which is, the mattress is on the floor. Do you ever sleep on a mattress on the floor? It might not have even been a mattress. It might have just been a big pile of blankets that we had. It's not clear to me right now. It seems to manifest its way back into my life. And in the middle of the night, all I remember is it appeared to be a little monster that jumped on top of me. Were you ever sleeping in the middle of the night and all of a sudden there's either a monster in your room? You know, we've been told our whole life there's the boogeyman is in your closet. Because I would always ask my mom's boyfriend, where's the boogeyman today? Is he in my closet or is he under my bed? Is he in my closet? Is he in my closet over here? Or is he under my bed? Because I don't want to go to bed if he's in there, and I don't want to see him in the closet. Will you check my closet? Will you check my closet? Okay. Will you check my closet? Make sure the boogeyman ain't in there. Look under my bed. Were you ever like that as a kid growing up? I was. Maybe you were the kid that went around checking everybody's closets, looking in their drawers. There's no boogeyman here. Go to sleep. You know, I remember my brother and sisters doing that. Just go to sleep. You know, go to sleep. Everything's going to be okay. I looked 5 times. I looked already. Now go to sleep. Well, let me tell you something. That day, there was nowhere to look under the bed, but in the closets, I guess, throughout the house, in the basement. But I didn't look for the boogeyman. I woke up in the middle of the night, and there was this little, what appeared to be this little monster. Okay? Little monster, kind of big feet. It was dark. It looked like it had a lot of eyes. I don't know. Okay. But it sounded like it had a million voices. Millions. Millions. And I've only ever heard that sensation a couple times throughout my life, in my younger years. Okay? Millions of voices, dark. I had no idea what was being said at all. Am I dreaming? Do you think I'm dreaming? Think it was a nightmare? I started trying to yell for my girlfriend. I was yelling out her name. I couldn't. I had no voice. I couldn't, and that was scaring me. If you were ever in a situation where you could be in the water, maybe you got too much water in your throat, you drank something. But at this time, I was sleeping and I woke up. Was I that scared, do you think? Do you think I was that scared at something I was dreaming about? That when I went to wake up and I was screaming for my girlfriend that I couldn't get anything out? This was going on for a while. Okay. It was like I was paralyzed. It's like my entire body was paralyzed. Was I that scared, do you think? I wasn't watching any horror movies up to that point. I stopped watching horror movies as I got older because I realized a lot of times I would go out in the dark and I didn't want to be scared anymore. Did you ever come to that realization? If I'm not feeding my mind off these images, very scary ones. You know, I gotta say, really the last scary movie I probably watched was Scream. I love Scream, by the way. Okay. So I'm not saying you don't watch these videos, don't watch these movies. Scream, since Friday the 13th, was my all-time favorite movie. I love Scream, and that's a movie I can watch over and over and over and over and over and over. The actors that are in it, especially part one, I love the cop, Dewey, and I always pretended to be that girl, that, the reporter that was falling in love with Dewey, I just, something, Dewey kind of just reminded me of Enos and Daisy kind of situation, So I always liked Dewey, and I also liked the one guy that I think ended up being one of the killers in the end. I think he had like blonde kind of curly hair, I can't think of his name right now, but I really liked him. He's very cute. And some of the other guys. But anyway, that was a great bunch. To me, that was a healthy bunch. Great actors, and the movie was great. But I watched this over and over and over again. Me watching this over and over again, it's programming my mind with these images. Maybe it's even making it acceptable images to me. Okay? Acceptable behavior to me. Maybe. But if I walk out and I see some guy with a mask on, hey, oh well, I seen you in Scream. I seen you in Friday the 13th. Who knows what it's doing? Okay? Maybe that's why some things that are crazy in the world that end up starting to happen. You hear some horror stories. I don't know. Let's figure this out together. So I'm paralyzed, is what I feel like, laying on that floor. At some point, I actually got up. I don't know what happened. Where did the monster disappear to? But I remember I crawled my way because it felt like it was trying to hold me back. Some force was trying to hold me back. And I just made it to the door across the floor. It was a very small room, like from here to that tree. Okay? The tree's probably about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 steps away from where I was. It was the exit door. And can I tell you that I was on the floor and I tried to get through the archway because I think my door is open. I was scared in that house anyway. As so as it was, I was already scared. So let's understand that. Scared, it's an unfamiliar house. It's kind of an older house. Her mother had just passed away kind of thing. Weeks or a few months prior, she's kind of rearranging things. It was her mother's house. So you ever hear ghost stories? You say, all this stuff is chain linking back. You ever hear ghost stories where somebody lived there for 90 years, now they died? You think they're going to leave that house? That was their house. They never left that house. Okay? They don't want you in the house. Get out of the house. That's my house. You ever hear stories like that? Haunted stories? Well, all this different stuff obviously is going through my head. So was there really a monster? Was this happening? Was there something in my conscience making this reenact? But I will tell you this. As I got ready to go for the door, I was pulled back. I was pulled back and slammed back down. And it was a force that was unexplainable. I could not get up. And I'm hearing all these voices. At some point, for whatever reason, this monster left me up and it disappeared. And I ran into, and I'll tell you right now, I guarantee you that my friend would vouch for this. That I was scared out of my mind. Scared out of my mind. I'm in my 30s. Why am I scared? I don't know. What was it that was on top of me? What were all those voices? I was freaking out. I was crying. I was so scared. I didn't know what it was. Was it the drugs I did as a kid? Because I didn't do drugs. That's why I'm saying that. Was it some of the chemicals sprayed in our house? Was it something from the detergents? Was it something from the food? Was it something in the images that I saw? Stories that I heard. Very scary ones. Yes, I'll get you, my pretty. Okay, I don't know. Very scary experience. I talked to different people about this. A lot of people would relate it back to, you were sleeping, it might have been a nightmare, you thought You thought they try to explain it. Can I ask you something? Is there an explanation for that? Sometimes do we just have to let things go of the unknown? You know? We still have a whole life journey in front of us. And look at all those trees. We got to kind of stagger around, make our way through life. I never really knew about that. And because my girlfriend at the time, she didn't experience it. And what I mean by girlfriend is we were just very good friends. Okay? She would share some stories though, ghost stories. She believed in ghosts, that you see angels. Angels come and talk to you and sit on the bed. Did you ever have that happen? I did. I had a lot of that stuff happen. I'm going to try to keep things moving on down through here because I had a couple other situations. One time I was in New York. When I was traveling around, I was staying in New Jersey. And one of the big things for me to do after I got off work, all right, I worked set hours. I'm going to go to New York. I'm going to hang out for a while. And I was in Manhattan, in Greenwich Village. I ended up going to a club that was pretty well known at that time for transsexual ladies to go to. And I wanted to meet girls from New York. To be honest with you, I wanted to get in adult films. I wanted to do different things, and I wanted to network with other people. And that, to me, I'm a real life person. I'd rather go and meet real people. I'm not the kind to just sit behind my computer all the time. I don't want to sit behind a computer. I want to experience it. Let me tell you something. I want to touch a tree. All right? I want to touch a tree. I want to smell. Men. Okay? I want to play. I want to play and have a good time. That's really all I want to do. I was always kind of an outdoorsy kind of person, riding my bike and doing activities. I love music. I'd rather play music with a bunch of guys, or whoever. A bunch of people in general. So I go to New York, and though some of the details are foggy, I don't remember when this was. So if this was before the things that I'm sharing with you, after. But can I tell you at some point that I ended up going into the club, this bar, and some gentleman that, from what I remember, he was sitting there and he asked me if I'd like to sit beside him and have a drink. Instantly, I thought of Johnny Cash for some reason. He was dressed in black, all black. No hat on. Very handsome, older gentleman. So he got me a drink. I'm sitting to the right of him. We're talking about some small things, I told him I'm actually I was very honest. I told him I'm staying over in New Jersey. And I didn't tell him what I was doing there. I'm staying in New Jersey, kind of hanging out. This is a good networking place. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he tells me he's there with the Pope. The Pope. To be honest with you, I don't really know the Pope. I don't know much about the Pope. I never followed. When I hear the word Pope, I gotta be honest. I just, something shuts off of me. I don't. It's nothing of an interest to me. Okay, I don't mean that in a mean way. It's just something that I was never really interested in. So I was just like, okay, so what does he mean by that? I never knew until after our visit. I was wondering, what does he mean by that? So he was there with the Pope. The Pope was in town that night. And can I tell you that as we were talking, he looked at me and he said, you're not too old. I said, too old for what? Then he started talking about the Rolling Stones. He started telling me about the Rolling Stones. And I don't want to get too heavy about it, but basically what he was getting at is, they're an older group and they're still doing it. Are some of them in their 60s? I don't know. To be honest with you, I love Mick Jagger. And I love the guys and I love their music, especially later years. But I never really followed them a whole lot. I started liking Mick Jagger more when I came out, started taking hormones, which I have to explain a little bit about that, but your body chemistry changes a little bit. And I love older men. and I became very attracted to Mick Jagger. Very much. So it was kind of unique that he was kind of bringing this up to me. Was he feeding off my mind a little bit? Because I like Mick Jagger and the way he dances. Especially the dancing in the streets. Yeah, I always love that thing. So he's there with the Pope. He's telling me that it's not too late. He starts sharing about Mick Jagger. And I'm thinking to myself at that time, how do you even know that I play music? Is that what you're referring to? His whole comment about that conversation was, it's not too late. I'm not too old for anything. It's a state of mind. If you believe you're too old, if you believe it's too late, and the world around us will try to tell us we're too old, it's too late. Forget about it. I gotta admit, we can be our worst enemy because of everything we've been programmed for our whole entire life. Can I tell you something? You're not too old. It's not too late. But you have to believe it. You have to go back through and maybe reprogram yourself to believe what other people have told you in a situation like this is negative information. You know, you're too old, negative information. Age doesn't matter. Positive information. There's a good belief that's going to help me to have a life of victory. What you think is what you become. And if you're going to sit around and you're going to feel I'm too old, it's too late all your life, let me tell you something. You'll find out when I got involved in the music industry that by the time I was in my 20s already, I was feeling like it's too old, I'm too old, it's too late. Wait till you hear my story. It's really bizarre, but I felt that way. And now I'm 40. I don't feel it's too old, it's too late. I have a whole other lot of feelings, though. I'll tell you that. So check this out. And that's famous for me. I will always say that. So check this out. In that conversation, I remember him being very gentle in his voice, his tone with me. I found him fascinating. After that conversation, he had me thinking deep. But can I tell you that at some point, I got up after our drink, and I just kind of walked down to kind of talk to somebody at this end of the bar. And I no sooner turned my head and he was gone. Did you ever meet somebody in your life? Now there's one way in and out. Understand that if I'm standing down here and he's up at that end of the bar, if that's the only way out, he had to walk past me. He had to walk past me. Why didn't I see him? I mean, I'm there. I'm right there. It's a very narrow area. You know, you got the bar, you got bar stools, you got tables over. So did he somehow pass by me? Did he walk between my legs? Did he shrink down like that little monster that attacked me? Did he go up on the ceiling? Was he on the ceiling and he walked out? I don't know. Did he sneak out from behind the bar? I don't know. Was there an exit that I was unaware of, maybe? Maybe. Well, why does everybody else use that door, but he didn't? That had me left wondering. Did you ever meet somebody and then that you're talking to him? They bought a drink. They're real. I didn't touch him or nothing. I don't know how real he was. You know, like real like this twig. I don't know how real he was. You know, but the conversation was very graceful. And I remember, and I put all this stuff together as I go through my life journey. See how that can affect me? I know right now you're thinking, wow, Tracilyn, you're really talking like you're serious about this stuff. You know, I could see it, understand it better if you were laughing. Sometimes I laugh, most times I won't. This is very serious. I'm very serious that this stuff happened to me. Okay? So, okay, I met this guy who's there with the Pope. It's not too old, it's not too late. Is he a messenger? You think he's a messenger? Tracilyn, it's not too late. Okay. So I'll hold on to that. That to me is positive information. Thank you, Mr. Who was there with the Pope. Very, very cool. See, the thing is that I thrive off stuff like this. I love when encounters like this happen. All the time. You'll find that out. As I go through life, I anticipate. I look for this. Is that the right word? But I'm awaiting for the next occurrence to happen. I love it. I love it. It gets me all excited about life. It's what distracts me from some of the things that I'm thinking about at the time, and it gives me hope. That guy was in my life. He gave me hope, right? At that time, I'm probably in my late 30s, right?